Another one of my live stream lectures this evening. And before I get started, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my supporters and everyone for supporting my channel. You know, my YouTube channel truly would not be where it's at today without all of my supporters. So, with that being said, let's get on down to today's very important lecture, which is I want to talk about the importance of protecting your peace. The importance of protecting your peace. And this is a very important lecture, and I really put emphasis on protecting my peace, especially since I retired a little over 2 years ago. And I'm going to talk about some things that are very useful and helpful that can help a person to protect their peace. And one of those things is you got to recognize in itself that you have no control of the past. You got to release that. Many people spend a lot of time dwelling on the past, focusing on the past, and in doing that, that will have a direct impact on your peace in the here and now. So you got to just get to a point where you just got to turn that past over to God. Another key thing in terms of protecting your peace is release all worries and anxieties about the future. You got people who are losing sleep over the future, anxious about the future. They're so anxious and concerned about the future to the point where it's having a direct impact on their peace in the here and now. So you got to release that and practice awareness, gratitude, focus on the here and now. But if you're so worried and concerned about that future, it will have a direct impact on your peace in the here and now. Another thing in terms of protecting your peace is you got to understand and recognize that you have no control of the actions of other people. You cannot control what they do. You cannot control what they say. So if you think that you can control the actions of others in terms of what they say or do, that would have a negative impact on your peace in the here and now. So you're going to have to release that. You cannot control other people's actions or behavior. Real talk, people. Another thing in terms of protecting your peace is, you have no control in terms of what other people think of you. You can't control other people's thoughts. Real talk. There are so many people in this world get bent out of shape in regards to what somebody think about them. Think about that. Think about that for a moment. If you are going to allow your peace to be interrupted because of what somebody think of you, you can't control that. You got to let that go for real talk and protect your peace. It is so important that you have to protect your peace, especially in this problem focused world with a vengeance. And you got to protect your peace. And you got to make sure don't nobody interfere with your peace. I don't care who it is, because you have got to claim ownership and do everything that you have to do to protect your peace of mind. Real talk. Another thing in terms of that can help in terms of protecting your peace is you got to release. You got to stop trying to control outcomes. Whatever, we have no control of outcomes in regards to whatever we're working on, but we can control the steps that we take, the things that we got to do, those little steps that we take that has a impact on the outcome, but you have no control of the outcome. Real talk. The minute you cut loose of those outcomes and worry about the outcomes, that will have a direct impact on restoring your peace. Real talk. I work on a lot of goals simultaneously, personal goals that I have. And as long as I know I'm following the steps, doing what I need to do, whatever steps I need to take to reach that goal, I do not attach myself to the outcome, because I really can't control the outcome. I can't control the outcome, but I can control the action steps that I need to take and put the rest in God's hand. Real talk, people. Another thing that has a direct impact on protecting your peace is you gotta cut loose. You gotta cut loose in terms of what another person do or don't do. If a person do something, or if they don't do something, don't let what they do or don't do have a impact on your peace. Because if you are putting your peace in the hands of a person, rather it's your mother, father, sister, brother, child, significant other, co-worker, in terms of what they do or don't do, then what's happening is you're giving that person a lot of power over your peace. So do not put your peace in the hands of in terms of a person in relation to what they do or don't do. No, put your peace into your hands and in God's hands. Real talk, people. Another thing that has a direct impact on protecting your peace is don't have any expectations of people, because that ties into people do what they're going to do or not do. So when you don't have any expectations of people, and then what that's going to do is protect your peace. If you got expectations in regards to what a person do or don't do, and if they don't do it, then you're going to get upset and mad, and that's going to disrupt your peace again. That's falling by your own. You're putting your peace in the power of something external, a person or a situation, etc. So have no expectations. Have expectations for yourself versus having expectations in another person. Real talk. Because again, what's going to happen if they don't abide by or own up to your expectations? And I've seen situations where people get upset, angry, mad at the person to the point they're losing sleep. Now they has impacted their peace. Real talk, people. So in order to protect your peace, have no expectations of other people. Have expectations for yourself. Real talk. And another key piece in terms of that will protect your peace is it is okay in saying no. Instead, if it's something that you want to say no to, don't say yes. And really when you want to say no, because every time you say yes to something, but you really want to say no, what that does is chip away at your time, your peace. Real talk. So there's nothing wrong when you really, if you want to say no, say no. If that no is going to protect your peace, this is real talk. Because a person, they should respect you rather you say yes or no. But in reality, this is about your peace, people. This is real talk. And I'm telling you, I've always protected my peace, but more aggressively since I retired over 2 years ago. And I'm telling you, I do things on a daily basis, a weekly basis to protect my peace. Real talk. Because if you ain't got peace, can't nobody give it to you but you. So again, say no when you really want to say no versus saying yes. Because every time you say yes, when you really want to say no, what's happening is you are chipping away at your peace and your serenity. Real talk. And it also ties into, you don't have to say yes to every function. Rather it's a job function or a family function or a cookout or any type of graduation or a wedding or any type of gathering, any type of function. You can't be everywhere. You cannot say yes to every function. So because when you say yes to all of these functions, what's happening, that's going to chip away from where your time, your energy, your resources, your peace. So it's okay to say no to some of these functions, because every time you say yes to these functions, when you really want to say no, that's taken away from your peace. Real talk. Life is too short, people. I know too many people. I know stressed out right now that everybody else, other people have taken over their life. And, they're saying yes to all of these functions because they don't know how to say no. They ripping and running for everybody else. They're tired, they beat down, they're depressed, and they have no peace because they have not mastered the skills of self-care and doing many of these things that I'm talking about. Real talk, people. And another thing that's so important in protecting your peace is stop explaining your actions or decisions to people. You don't have to explain your actions or decisions you make in your life to nobody. Because when you begin to explain your actions or decisions to other people, that really does take away your peace. That has a disruption to your peace because it takes energy to explain your actions and decisions to people. The only person you got to explain to is yourself and God. Real talk, people. Other people should have no impact on your actions and decisions. You shouldn't have to approve nothing to nobody, because every time you explain yourself to people, your actions and decisions, that takes away verbal energy. It takes away mental energy. Real talk, people. If you're going to do something, do it. Move in silence. This is the power of moving in silence. Let your goals speak for itself. Real talk. Because you should not have to explain your actions or decisions to nobody, because when you're going into explanations, that's taking away your energy. Verbalization, people, is energy. Real talk. And another thing that you got to do to protect your peace is you got to have that power of discernment and the ability to say no to certain people, places, things, and situations. Real talk, people. You develop yourself in silence. You move in silence. You protect your energy in silence. And after you've done that, then you step outside of your home so you can have the energy to navigate through life, people. This is real talk. And I'm telling you, all of these things I've done really all my life in terms of protecting my energy. As far back as I can remember, I have no problem in saying no. Real talk. I've always been an introvert. I'm going to protect my energy. I'm going to protect my peace. I ain't got to explain nothing to nobody. I'm going to move in silence. I'm going to self-disclose to who I choose to self-disclose to, or let that goal speak for itself. But bottom line, as we usher into the year 2026, if you do not come up with a game plan and a strategy plan to protect your peace, ain't nobody else going to do it for you. There's too many people right now, as I'm doing this lecture, stressed out, losing sleep, crying, worrying about other folks in terms of what they do or what they ain't doing, and that other person will move up and on. They ain't losing no sleep over anything. It's the person who's trying to control things that's out of their control that's having a direct impact in disrupting their peace. Real talk. You got to cut loose. You have no control of the past, the future. You have no control of the actions of others. Because when the minute you're trying to hold on to all of that, it's going to have a negative impact on your peace. You have no control of what other people think. You have no control of outcomes. The only thing that you have a control of is the steps that you got to take in order to reach that goal. But you have no control of the outcome, because there's too many moving parts behind the scene on any goal achievement. You got to understand that don't expect don't, in terms of what a person do or don't do, don't let that have an impact on your peace. Because think about it, a person's going to do what they want to do or don't do. Either way, you can't control that. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't say yes in reality when you really want to say no. I've gotten in the past month, many friends and family members have contacted me, called me throughout the month in terms of asking me about, do I want to go to this function, this and that. And there was a few of them I said no to. There was one or two I said yes to, because I'm okay with that. But I wasn't going to say yes to all of them. No. So it is okay to say no in order to protect your peace. Share this information, because this is something I've been wanting to touch bases on for a while in terms of making sure that you protect your peace with a vengeance, and some of these tips and strategies that has helped me to protect my peace throughout life, people. Real talk. Because I'm telling you something, if something's not in line with my values, my beliefs, my goal, my energy, I'm gonna say no real quick. Everything, everything that come at you is not good for you. Real talk. So again, share this information. And again, I see folks chiming in. One of the things that, you know, in terms of many of my subscribers know is, you know, I'm going to acknowledge folks in the live stream lecture. I really do appreciate that. But I'm not going to go back and forth responding to these comments, because that's going to slow me down on my deliverance. But again, I do want to acknowledge everyone into this live stream. You know, I'm really excited in regards to the direction. Really, God has already taken my YouTube channel in terms of the direction I'm taking this channel as a content creator. You know, and I'm going to say this again and again. You know, you got to have a balance. And that's another thing in terms of protecting your peace, especially if you are a content creator. You better maintain a balance between your social media persona and your real life persona. Because I tell anybody, you know, I'm at the point now where if I want to do a lecture, I do a lecture. If I don't want to do a lecture, I don't do a lecture. You know, whatever money I make from YouTube or money I don't make from YouTube, you know, that has no impact on my financial security. Real talk, people. So again, as a content creator, just make sure one of the things you're doing to protect your peace is maintain that balance between your personal persona and your social media persona. There should be a distinction and a balance. You got to know when to cut off and deplug and enjoy life. Again, I appreciate everybody chiming in. That's all I have. Simple Fidelis, and I'm going to leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.